All right, guys. Today we got a great video. This year so far is going to be insane. We are almost doubling our maintenance. We're almost doubling our mulch. The stuff that we've gotten has really been a blessing, but this is going to be sick. So we got a new to us, it's a used machine, but it is 5-yard bark blower. So we got the MB50 from Finn. We just got it today. We've been doing some running, some testing and everything, so you guys will see that right after. But this thing is awesome. It's sick. So it's a 2021, but it's basically brand new. We're doing some loading right now, seeing how many yards we can really get in it. Testing it out, seeing how fast we can make it go and everything, and it rips. So it's exceeded everything so far. We've had it for about 40 minutes, so who knows how long that lasts, but this is a huge increase in production for us. Just this year, we have the potential this year to pick up over 400 yards of mulch additional over what we did last year. So if we do that, we're just about doubling mulch from one year to the next. And this is going to be a huge way for us to ensure that we can get to everything. So obviously you guys are seeing on the channel, we had the 1.5 yard 302. That thing was great for what we did, but it didn't do fast enough. It didn't do enough production and everything. So this thing is really going to step up our game. So we're going to get it lettered soon. But yeah, just doing some tweaks, getting it really tested out, figuring everything out. But this thing's awesome. So let's cut to Clint from Hydrograss. He's going to be the one showing us the, kind of the ins and outs of this thing, seeing how everything operates, kind of go through all the little things that he's learned over the years of selling these things or whatever. So let's cut to him, see what we got going.
This is just a quick reference because it's springtime. Wet mulch. 12 to 14 seconds. Okay, and what I mean by that is from 12 o'clock to 9 o'clock when it rotates. Okay, once everything starts to dry out, or if you're not getting any clogs, then you can always speed that up. But initially, from now until like the middle of April, or it depends on how much rain we get, that's my recommendation. And you'll notice that you'll have less chance of the clog. If you like what's going on, you can always boost up your floor speed until you get that first clog, and then you know you're gonna have to back up. When you're driving with this machine and you got the bark mulch in, it's going through, the first thing you always want to remember is you want to remember to empty out the airlock first before you start the floor. Okay, because if you get a hole jamming going right through, now you're going to end up with that Tootsie Roll, and you're going to end up with going, what the hell's going on? And nothing's better than when you clog up a 250 feet of hose. Yeah. Vertically challenged guys like me, I can't get it high enough to shake it out. People look at me and I'm doing this and kicking it, and they're going, I got to get my camera out, man. I got to videotape this guy. So that's what I believe in. And then dry is, 6 to 10 seconds. It depends on, the type of bark mulch. All right, I'm Clint. This is your new MB5 or MB50. Okay. Yep. Oh no.
Hey, you said we owned it, so.
Can't have anything else. Well, at least now the cherry's been popped and we're good to go.
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
That's why we use a rubber.
Yeah, he's the virgin, I can tell. Okay. Anybody know what this is?
Dummy plug.
I'm assuming for that remote.
So let's say if you don't want to have this going down the road, you want to make sure you put this dummy plug in there. Okay, the reason you want to is you don't want any water to go in there. Or if you're brave enough and let this sit all year round, that's fine too. But if you get into a place and you're leaving the machine overnight and you don't want munchkins to play with it, just put the dummy plug. They won't realize what it is.
Right.
You know, they might think it's candy and pop it down. That's the premise. If it seems like nothing's working, take this, pull it out, put it in, make sure there's no condensation or any corrosion on the tines that are sticking out, the tits that are sticking out. Okay, you got your stop here, tarp, that'll run whether the battery's on, the machine's running or not, because it's running directly off. Now, when you run this tarp, and you got a heaping mound, make sure you take this tarp and put it back. The reason is, if you got a heap, there's enough tarp that it's going to go down, the floor is going to grab it, it's going to go into the pick wheel, and it's going to rip these arms off, and you're going to be looking at a good chunk of change out of somebody's wallet.
You're paying for it.
Oh no, there's companies now that whatever you damage on a machine, and it's stupidity,
Oh yeah.
they're taking it out of your paycheck.
Yeah.
You know, the days of guys go, no, my machine. Guys can't afford it anymore. So we're doing that. So just make sure you bring it back, or leave it up in the air, but don't go driving down the road and leave it up in the air, because you might hit a coax cable somewhere and have fun. You did great by putting on the hot hose. When you get a clog, try to do yourself a favor. Get yourself an old hoe. Not one of those ladies with no teeth. I'm talking about the hose that you can cut. You want to be able to get inside this, and you want to scrape the inside of that machine, and then you want to scrape the fins. The veins will fill up after a while. With the wet bark mulch, it's going to stick. So in the morning or that week, you had everything all nice and cleaned, and then you're going, we're not getting the production. Take a look at your veins and clean those out.
Leave like a scraper in the.
Yeah. A lot of guys will leave it right in the hot hose. They'll just slide it right up and slide it in. It's not going to go anywhere because it's going to go this way.
Right.
Okay. So you don't want to work in there with your hands anyway because you got the cutting edge. The cutting edge is not designed to be cutting bark mulch and turn it into smaller pieces. What it is it's designed to take the top of the veins and clean them off. So periodically, probably after about maybe 6 weeks, 8 weeks, you want to adjust those knives and move them forward a little bit for your mechanic. And all he wants to do is he just wants to see it barely go.
Yeah, I forget what I have the feeler gauge. I forget what it was. 0.04 or something like that. Yeah.
I use a business card. That's close enough. But then again, I have a just enough GED, I guess it is, just enough education, whatever. So I just make it so it works. You'll know when you're pulling it and it starts to click to back it off just a little bit. That's important. Okay. The reason I'm saying get an old hoe is if you take this on and off multiple times, there's a gasket in there. It gets hot and sticky, and once you rip that gasket and you try to get it back on, you're going to lose air. If you lose air, if you're losing here, you're losing down at the end.
Oh, yeah.
So your production goes down. Your grease fittings are all marked. When you do your grease, don't use one of those battery-powered grease guns. Just use a regular grease gun. Just while it's running, you want everything to be running. Just do one nice slow pump, and you're good to go. You don't need that, because you don't want it to be pushing out and blowing anything out. But if you use a gun, when you hit that trigger, it's a lot faster than just one slow pump. Why everything's running. That way the grease goes in, gets carried around, and it's not just sitting there trying to catch it. Gotcha. You guys are in a terrible business. You got baby fines, you got dirt, you got all kinds of shit. But if you take care of it, it'll take care of you. What's nice about this machine versus any of the other ones is it could be a two-man operation. You can be running this and have somebody hold these switches in, and that way you can clean this out and see what's going on. Okay, but you don't want to make sure you don't stick your head in there when this is turning, because it doesn't care if you're black, white, purple, male, female. It's going to take your scalp off. So try to stay away from it, but at least this way you can see what's going on inside these veins, and you can clean them. So it'll make things a lot quicker. Some of the newer machines, we use magnets now, and it's harder to cheat the system. This way is nice to cheat the system, but do it with two people, because, or if you're one person, then you just hit stop, then you got to go around. But if you're with two guys, somebody can always have that cord. You can bring that cord all the way around, magnet here, and hit, so you can clean that out. So it should only take you a few minutes. It's worth those minutes to not lose volume. Okay? You got a plate in the back. It's set by the factory or set by us. Unless you guys are going to be doing a lot of composting, I'd leave it right where it is. Bark mulch is going to come in. It's going to hit that plate. If it starts going over the top, that means you're really going too fast. It should stay low and be about as tall as this pick wheel, maybe a little bit more. And that way it's hitting the material and dropping it in. If, by chance, you turn, you push the button and nothing works, you come back here and make sure that you got everything adjusted. Because this is a safety where if it's not adjusted right, you're not going to get an airlock spinning, you're not going to get a floor spinning. The machine will spin.
Yeah, it's like the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, if your door wasn't
So yeah, that
closed,
happened all the time, yeah.
The sensors to read.
Yep.
It won't start either.
Oh, well, this one will start. Okay, your hose reel is hydraulic locked to run, but to get it to freewheel, you got a heavy duty lock that you want to spin up. Nothing's going to be worse than when you're spinning this and that heavy duty lock drops down and you're trying to pull this hose and freewheel it. One of you guys is going to end up on your ass.
They just emptied the fucking dumpster last week.
Everybody wants their buck.
Should I go move that? 550?
Yeah, I guess.
I actually have to run.
Actually, there's a lot of shit in the way, isn't there?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Actually,
There shouldn't be.
So that's a hydraulic freewheel out, hydraulic come back. This is your button to bring it back, which is going to be nice at the end of the day. Get into the habit of bringing the hose all the way back the opposite end. So if you're out 150 feet, yeah, bring it back. That way you're not dragging it and pulling and working up your hydraulics.
Yeah.
You know, it will come in handy. Pay attention to where it is, Casey, because it will jump up and bite you and take your scalp. You know, because those ears, again, they don't care.
Oh yeah.
It'll just. So you know, you want to pay attention to what's going on, especially if you're using this big old pig. Your battery's here. Your oil dipstick is here. You have grease fittings here that say weekly. Make sure you clean this at least once a week or once a day. Depends on how many. Yeah, every day. Just walk it away, clean it out, shake it out, do whatever you want to do. Okay. After a while, though, when if the summer gets hot or the spring gets hot, and you get a lot of dust, take your sweat rag, take this off, and wipe the inside of this drum. You'll start seeing what we call snail trails, and that dust will just kind of creep down. And you want to keep that dust out of there. So just take your sweat rag, clean it out, let it run. It'll dry up. But that way you'll know if your filter's really getting kind of dirty. You'll start seeing those snail trails going down. The tolerance in this can versus what the tolerance is here is very, very tight. So you don't want it to be wearing down. Okay. Full radiator. It's a little harder to clean, this radiator, versus the other one that you're used to. So you want to hit this with air as much as possible to clean out all the little baby fines that'll fall through. And then you got your burp.
Did you say that radiator though is blowing this way, right? Instead of sucking in like the old one.
Right. Yep. So you want to blow it as best you can. Fuel. Drop down, shoot. Remember that chute when you are shoveling. If you are shoveling into it, don't shovel it onto the chute. Try to make a foot past the opening. You know, if you are shoveling, you don't need the shovel and fill it up. all you want to do is just feed the beast for the guy that's working for what he's doing. Why kill yourself? You know, I got a lot of guys, they think they have to fill 5 yards or 3 yards or 2 yards or whatever, and they're tired. All you want to do is just use whatever's in there and just gently,
It's like you know,
gently feed it.
But yeah, like even with the other one, like I don't know these guys, but in the past, like, I'd show up and the fucking thing's empty. I'm like, you need to shovel faster, you know, because then they get to the next job and they're trying to play catch up. There's no reason that the thing should be empty.
No, you should always.
Well,
just
but
be
yeah,
able
for
to
a
feed.
1 yard, no. For this, I mean, yeah, you're gonna have you'd have a hard
just
time.
feed it. You know, I mean, you're gonna find out that this has got twice the CFM of what you guys were using before, and you're gonna notice a big difference, especially when you're working around houses, the plants. You're gonna want to slow down the air and move around because you're going from 400 CFM to almost 750 CFM. So you're gonna feel a big difference.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know.
it's not we can turn this down for the
Yeah,
302.
and that's-
You can't.
Well,
You can to an extent.
You can to an extent. This is going to be a better instant gratification versus what was on in the old. So, this machine, guys, okay, so we're going to turn this on. At the end of the day, turn this off, okay? It's not to stop the machine, even though it says machine stop. It's for an emergency only, okay? What you can do is, you have a green button here. This is gonna cycle. Light's gonna come on, you're gonna bump it once. Turns green. It's gonna start. Now to get this to go, you make sure that this is up. You'll see the little black circle. Take your green button here. Release. When you see the TX and the RX flashing back and forth, that means it's talking. So the first thing you always want to do, just to make sure, you want to make sure that it is communicating. Even though it's flashing, it might not. So you still want to make sure, you know, boost up your throttle. Nothing here is going to work until you hit the green button on that cord. Just like your other machine. Same system, same everything. The only thing that's nice is now with this, you have material start and stop, your throttle, and your floor increase. So that's why each guy's going to be hitting this button longer to get what he thinks the floor speed's going to be. So that's why if you can count, or if somebody's out at the end and he's not running this, the guy that's down here, he can say, hey, are you good? And he can hold it and say, okay, we do for revolutions. So we're good to go here. Like I said, if you forget this and lose this, you can still run everything from right here. You still have all your buttons to do everything. If somebody passes out and you can't get to them in time, hit this, it's going to shut the machine down so you get out and help the guy. Do not get in the machine while it's running. Please don't do that. Okay? It happens. Guys think that they want to get in and clean the sides. It doesn't work. So we have this. This cord will go all the way to the front, probably about another 8-10 feet past, or it'll go around the machine, whatever you need to do. Magnetic. So it's not going to stick that in the aluminum boxes. It's not going to stick to an aluminum box. This is your front clean out. You want to make sure you clean this out every day. Okay, same thing on the front one that was on your MB50. It's the same one. Just this one with the drop door. Still want to get up there. Not while the floor is moving. That'll take a finger. But you still want to clean this out. You want to stop from having any force for the floor to move up and around and put any pressure, because what that does, it stretches your chain, wears out your sprockets, and overheats your hydraulics. So it only takes a few minutes to clean it out. Again, make that ball like we were talking about, you'll be able to clean it out. And then put it back up, and away you go. So we're going to get this going. First thing you want to do, up to the door, start this. starts spinning, floor's not moving. So we're going to increase the intake. And either go back here or make those lines here, which a lot of guys prefer. Now we start the floor. All you have to do is, now we're in charge. Floor's, nothing's going to happen until this gets going. 3 seconds later, that so look back here, start counting. Jumping around. So I try to speed this up and then start jumping around because it's heavier material, it's going to be harder to push. So we can take this to the engine. That was the junk that just went through. So once you get to know your sound, everything's going to go. And this thing's going to answer the switch. I'm going to push it one more and speed it up just a little bit. I'm hoping we clog. No, a clog is good. That's how you learn how to fix things, and you hear it. Right. You know, and you'll feel it. Whoever's got the hose is going to feel it. In that millisecond, he's going to feel that when the pig comes through, as I call it, or the plug comes through, he's just going to hear it. And with your yellow hose, you start seeing it. So whoever they're working with, you're going to be able to see what's going down. Let's say we're done, okay? So we let the machine cool down. You know, idle it down while you're working. Let it cool down. You shut the key off. To get this to stop, so you don't have to worry about hitting this button, you're gonna hold this green button again. You're gonna see the bottom triangle and the square, the battery. Once it does that, just count to 2, release, battery's turned off. This thing takes 4 AA's. So always have some AA's. Because you don't know if somebody's gonna forget to turn it off, hit the button. You know, it's gonna, no matter what, if it's on and you hit the green button, even if it's flashing only one light, it's looking for something. So it's just gonna wear down your batteries. So just at the end of the day, just get in the habit just hit it and see that we got this. And right now we're ready to go. So all you have to do is just bring up the air, start, airlock start. 2 seconds later, force start to push it, and right now we just push it. It's going to be right at the same speed of what we set down. So it's going to have that memory. Unless you turn this all the way off, shut down the whole system, and it's not going to remember where you were. It doesn't have that kind of memory. Who wants to run it? Me? Well, I'm waiting for him to say who.
I say boss man. What am I doing? What am I doing? Figure it out?
Oh, watch. Now start.
Can't.
Well, I'm not going to give you a box of candy and tell you to eat it. You got to work for it.
Oh, okay.
What do you do first?
Hold
You
the button
come to the
2
job
seconds.
site.
No, your machine's off.
Oh, yeah.
You started me fresh.
Turn the key.
Yeah. It's going to cycle, see how it moves.
Yep.
And just hit it one time.
Once.
Then hold. In the colder weather, you're going to hear the pump kick in.
Okay.
And then once you hear that, it'll stop. And if you did what I just did, it's not going to start. So you want to take it. You want to make sure that when you hit it, you hold on to it. You can't just punch it, you got to hold it. Because if you do, what it's going to do, it's going to kick back to here. You're going to start to cycle all over like what we just did. Okay. So now you hit the green button.
Okay, I'm blinking.
Doing good?
Yeah.
Okay. Now what do you do?
Increase the engine speed.
Okay, the first thing you want to do, you're going to turn this on, right? First thing you'll do is you'll turn this. That's going to spin, turn it off.
Okay.
That
So
way,
you have to hit it here.
you always have to hit the green, and then you always want to turn the material right off. Now you're in control
With your remote. Yeah.
of your remote is going to be. So if you needed to walk to the other end, you already know what the sound's going to be and how fast you want to move your material.
So now I'm okay to increase.
Yeah, you increase that, go down to the end of the hose, like that, because Danny decided he had to go take a shit. It was Houdini, and then Travis is sitting there going, why aren't you guys done? Danny's taking a shit. No, you don't want to paying you guys, get it done. Don't get everything done by yourself. You're recording this, right?
Yeah. I can cut anything you want.
Yeah, so always want to clean that out first before you start the floor. Okay?
Okay, what? So clean it out means like it's off, increase.
Increase, then hit that, but you're not gonna, right now we got the floor on. So floor's off because we shut everything down. So what I mean by that is we're gonna turn this on, okay? That's gonna run that. And that's gonna take all that material that fell in, and you're gonna push it into the hose. Then you're gonna start your floor. Now when you start your floor, it's like a 3-second delay. So we're gonna hold it. See right now? And wait 3 seconds, and that'll start turning. See how it's starting to turn? You'll hear it? And now what you do is you go, okay, I'm gonna hit it one more long time. This is where the guessing game is. How long do I hold on to this to get that quarter revolution that I want to count? You know, in the book it tells you 1 full revolution. That's it to me, wasting time. Quarter and figure out the time shows up the same thing going all the way around.
Now, every time we shut it off, you're always restarting your 4-speed, where the other one was already set at a 9.
Yeah, because you guys set the knob and you just left it. So you guys didn't care if it was wet, dry, playground, whatever, because you had it set. So you already knew what your machine was going to do with the 4-speed. You played with your air speed.
Right.
So you always want to check like the rotation, the increase in that speed spot before you start.
Yeah, I mean, it's your call. It's hearing and seeing and feeling.
Right.
What I'm doing is I'm trying to make it as simple as possible you can be at a little bit of a distance. That's why you got that marker still on you. Go ahead, get the material. This way, this is big enough. This doesn't change. The rotation speed is always going to be within a tolerance. You know, even with the high throttle, it'll speed it up a little bit. Otherwise, it's constant. But the floor change, that's a whole different. That's your controlling the floor change and how fast you're going to move it.
Yeah, because that's going to spin more or less the same speed. It's going to be the amount of air that's going through that's going to change.
Right, with the engine speed.
Right.
And a little bit of speed on this, but not much. Okay. Right. And you got 4 covers on the sides here.
Looks like dried grease.
That's dried grease.
You bought it.
So you have 4 covers. 4 on this side, 4 on the other side. Once a week, you want to take these covers off, hit it with your air, or hit it with a pressure washer while it's rotating, and get rid of the baby fines that get in there. What it is see you have a space up this much.
Oh yeah.
You got a space. So what happens is the baby fines go on the outside of the rail, and they'll get in there and they'll start packing. And you'll notice that if it's getting really tight, you'll notice a chatter, and then your hydraulics get hot, and then you'll notice that your airlock's moving a little slower. But if you stay on it, put never seize on the bolts. You don't have to reef them down so they're so tight that you can't break them loose. You just want to make them just snug.
Yeah.
And that way you can get in there and clean it. And if you put the never seize on them, then they come off a lot easier because they will rust up and do all that. Like I said, you got them there. You got them over here, and the bottom one is not fun to get to. So you put your spider monkey, whoever's got the longest arms, in there and get it done.
What's
Do you have the longest arms though, or do you have the smallest hands? Well, Corbin has the smallest hands.
Yeah.
I'm usually the one in the tight spaces. Height vertically challenged. We fit places.
Clint, what's this Allen?
That is, let's say if you wanted to put a dust suppressor, or if you wanted to put a little, so you can have a hose, garden hose to it. You can add a garden hose with a turn-off valve, and then you put a little spray nozzle at the end. So if you're doing black around yellow houses and red houses and white houses, and you're doing black and you want to keep that dust down so it's not going in, you can run off their garden hose and just put a fine little mist. Not enough to turn it to mud. You just want it to keep it down. Because if you turn it to mud, then you're going to have 150, 200, 250 feet of mud.
Yeah.
But it will keep the dust down.
Okay.
You know. And if that's something you decide you're thinking about doing, I'll send you some pictures of what you need to put it together.
It's pretty cool.
A lot of guys will put a water tank on here, but
It's like kind of the add-on like they do for the new 3-yard now. Similar.
yeah.
What about if we decided to do compost, like a cedar? Or is this unit not set up for that?
It's not set up for it. And you don't want to put a cedar box on this because it costs more than the machine. No, they're very expensive. The
Really?
cedar boxes, yeah, because the way it goes with the air coming through, and then if you're gonna seed it, just
Well, we have a hydro cedar, so it's like.
yeah, have a hydro seeder, but you could, I just seed the ground, and then if you wanted to do compost in a big open yard, you can do it. You're gonna end up. You're not going to put a full 5 yards in this. You'll probably put maybe 2.5 to 3 yards in it, just due to the weight. You want to make sure that it's really dry, and you want to make sure that there's not a lot of sand in it. So you really got to trust whoever's making your compost that he's not using a lot of sand. He's using a lot of cow shit, horse shit, and leaves to break down, and not a lot of sand to hold it together. Sand is your enemy.
Yeah.
Because of the abrasive.
Because that's abrasive, and that's what's going to wear down your airlock over time. I have a couple customers that are down in Massachusetts. They do compost every fall with their BB5, and then now they've got 2 MB56s, and they're doing a lot of compost, and they're flying through it. They're doing 60 60 to 80 yards a day.
Wow.
Jesus.
You know, because, well, you're in a big open area. It's not like when you're doing bark mulching, you're around the beds and around the house.
Right.
Now you're just out
letting it
there.
fucking fly.
Yeah, you're just sending it out so it goes down and lays down. But whoever's on that end of the hose is going to be a chia pet. They're going to be covered. Okay.
Ben, that sounds like a job for you. You like to get dirty?
Actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're already covered. We haven't even done anything.
It'll be in that beard, and you're gonna smell it all night long.
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna go, man, I
love
thought I took a shower.
You're gonna ditch the beard. Sleep outside in the patio furniture.
Yeah, you know, it's like when I did it a few times. I just had to get all my clothes, put it in a plastic bag, and
Burn it.
the wife said, "No, you ain't coming in the house." I know you did compost. I can smell it. Any questions so far, guys?
No, my only, it's basically that clean out. Does it drop down from both sides? And it drops down like.
Just one big panel right here.
That's fucking fun. Pair of pliers?
Mike, well, you don't have strong grip anymore?
No, pussy.
Turn that off because I'm about to say really something.
Neato.
Oh yeah.
You like that, huh?
And to think you haven't even run 2 yards yet.
Yeah, right?
But that's real convenient to just dump on the driveway when you're in the middle of the day, like halfway through the day, just empty.
Well, the other nice thing is get yourself a 10 by 10 tarp. Blue tarp. And just throw it underneath. That way you're not making that mess in
Well, we started doing that was when we were shoveling in.
Yeah, I always tell guys.
Look at these D-rings. Look how big those things are.
No good.
All right, guys, we just did a little test. We put like 5.5 probably so yards in it, and this stuff was wet because it's been sitting all winter. We didn't tarp it over the winter or anything, so there were some frozen chunks and everything. But like 5.5 yards with it heaped. It took 17 minutes for full clean out, like totally empty. So obviously you're not gonna be able to do that in most places, but full bore, open beds, this thing is gonna rip. So this thing is gonna be a hell of a increase in production that we can do. So can't wait to get it really in the field, get it lettered, have it nice lettering on this side, big logo, bark blowing, phone number. This thing's gonna look awesome. But can't wait. So stay tuned.